I hope that this webinar can help you get some basics down, but also help you understand some really great use cases in setting up your workflows. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Emma, and I'm a customer onboarding specialist here at SmartSuite. And I have Avi, who's joining me. He is the VP of Partners. So if you have any questions that are more geared towards him at the end, he's happy to answer them, and we'll both dedicate time to questions at the end. So when you log in, this is your home page. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar since you've been using our product a little bit so far. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, this webinar is going to be based off a project management solution, just so I can describe some very great use cases and ways of setting up your workflow. So here we just have our projects application. So in our project management solution, which helps you manage a project, process, or workflow. So in your projects application, you can have a list of projects that are occurring in your company. And this could be project management, or it can be any project in your company or any client in your company. This is just a specific use case that I'm going to demonstrate some functionalities that you can perform in SmartSuite. So an example here would just be a simple project name. I've created a status field here just by going through our add field dropdown. I've used an assign to field to create a project manager. And I've added a due date, as well as a sliding bar field number slider for progress. And an important field when you're managing your projects could be account field, which we'll get into the importance of that here, but it allows you to see your open tasks or projects. So that's what I've created here. And we'll get into some specific fields and their functionalities as I continue. The basics here are an assign to field, a status field, and then what I'm going to create here is a single select, because I'm going to show you that not all projects are the same, and maybe projects have different tasks that happen in them. And I'm going to show you how you can automate this. So say you have project type 1, project type 2, and project type 3. These all have different tasks that happen in them. So project type 1 has different tasks that occur than project type 2. So I'm going to go ahead and create this field, and we'll say that the first two are project type 1, the second two are project type 2, and the last. So now each of these projects have different tasks, and all these tasks are going to be correlated in this application here. So you can link this to the particular project that's happening through a linked record field. Link record fields are used to connect data where you want to show relationships. So I'm going to link it to this project. So that's one way of doing it. What I'm going to do is set up an automation where tasks are going to populate based off of the type of project. So to set up an automation, you're going to go through the dropdown, solution dropdown here, select automation. The automation that you want to use is you're going to create a record. So you're going to create a project record. So think of this as the start of a project, and say this project is a type 1 project. So we want to set up conditions that happen when this type project occurs, type 1 project. We want to create a record in our task applications. And subtasks. So we can create an item description that's going to happen for each and every task that's created for this project type. And we can also create a checklist field, which I don't believe we have. So I'm just going to add this automation quickly. Add our checklist field. Perfect. Now we'll go back to the solution. And checklists. And we want this checklist to populate every time. We want it, say you have, you need a page design that happens in this project every single time. And select a due date, an interval for this, and you can assign it to a member. And this automation is going to occur every single time that you create this type of project. That's equal to type 1. You can add another condition if you want, but this is how you would create tasks for each project. So I'll go ahead and save this automation. Say you want to create a reoccurring task. So there's something that occurs daily or monthly. You can set up an automation for this. And the automation that you would set up is add a scheduled time. The trigger that you want to use when you're trying to create a reoccurring task is add a scheduled time. The add a scheduled time trigger gives you the option to create an interval, a frequency, a time, and when it starts. So the first thing you would do is select where do you want this reoccurring task to occur? And most likely it would be in the task application. In this case, it's going to be a task. So it's going to populate in that task app. How often do you want this to happen? Is this every week? Is this every month? Is this only a one-time task? Or is this an hourly task? So I'll just do monthly this time. And I want this to repeat. So say this is a task that occurs every single month at the same date. So I'm going to do every 1 month. I'm going to assign it in the morning. And I want to start the 1st of next month. So every single month at 9 a.m., starting from today, it's going to create this task. And from there, you would just create the record, which is essentially just creating the task. So this is just the setting up when you want it to happen, how often, and what do I want to see when I create this task. I definitely want the title, the task name here. And I can include anything here as far as specifying the task. I can add the solution name or app name. But I think what else would be important is a due date, which I can set for tomorrow, today. So this really helps you pinpoint these reoccurring tasks that happen and their details. So I can also set a status field. So I want it to be planned when I create this task. And then I want there to be an owner to this task. So you can actually create an owner on here for it to happen each time. So if it's a task that always happens, I'm always the owner of it, and I would want to assign this to here. So instead of assigning an owner every single time you create a task, then it automatically goes to that owner. So it removes that manual operating. So we'll turn on that automation. That's how you set up a reoccurring task. Let me just talk about briefly the importance of our status and due date fields. So something really unique to our platform is that these two fields are correlated with one another. So this is built into every solution. When you download a new template, it will populate to have these. And even when you start from scratch, it's going to have that status and due date field. So status fields, you can add in, of course, customize any status that you want. But what's important here is this is the indication where when you mark this as complete, the due date will trigger as complete as well. So maybe you want ready for review to have that, or but usually it's complete or launched or deal closed, but let's just do complete. So what that does is, let's just move it to in progress. So as you can see, when that due date is, when it's beyond that due date, you can see here that it shows you how many days it's overdue. These two are correlated to one another. And say that the due date was in the future. It shows you how many days it's due just by looking at this status field. Say I completed it early, it's going to go ahead and check it off for me. I completed it 59 days before the due date. So that's a really important tool when you're managing these projects or deals or anything really in any use case. So next I'm going to go into views and some important views that you can set up. So common one that we see a lot of people really interested in is creating a view of assignments that are assigned to you or assigned to a particular person. And not everyone wants to see everyone else's assignments. So what I can do is create a view. And when I create views, I really like to duplicate them because sometimes it's hard to, figure out which data points you want. If you like a view and you want to simply use it and just customize it, make some changes, I always do the duplicate feature. So 3-dot menu here, select duplicate a view, and it's going to be projects assigned to me. So right now it's a private view. So no one else can see this, but it's important for me when I log into my solution because I don't want to see everyone else's work. So how I'm going to set this up is I'm going to create a filter. So this is an assigned to field, and I just titled it project manager, by the way. So I'm looking for the project manager field. Here it is. When it is exactly, and then you can even do current user. So that would apply to me because I'm signed on to my account, but I'll just do myself to be clear. So now this view is populating only the projects that are assigned to me. So I don't need to see everyone else's data. I can do this for anyone else really, but I think it's really important to see your own work at a glance. Now I'm going to create a view where I can see all of my open tasks. So a lot of times people don't want to see what's closed. They want to see what do you need to do tomorrow? What do you need to do today? I'm going to create a view of all of the open tasks just by duplicating this view. I'm going to title it open tasks. And let's create a new filter. So I want where open tasks. And all you have to do is set it up where it's going to be greater than 0. So here you have it, a view that shows all of your open tasks or tasks that have open assignments in the project. So I guess this would be better called open projects or tasks with open projects. So that way you can really drill down what work needs to be done. If it's a private view, you can just select a private view. You can make it public so your team can see it and reorder these, of course. Some other views you can set up are grouping by status, by type, project type. Status one is a really common one that really helps you organize. You can create some timeline views and some charts that if you have questions on, we can go into more detail later. Next, I'm going to show you the importance of forms and how you can use them to track customer data, to gather any information that you need from external sources. And forms allow you to capture all this data in SmartSuite. So you don't even have to have a SmartSuite account, that you can gather data just by sending them the link. Here we have a customer onboarding template that I've created. So we have our accounts, the size of the account, the address, website, type, and then link to contacts. But I also have a contacts app here that lists all of my contacts by name, by our customer account, their data. So I want to create a form for onboarding new customers. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all these so we can create a new form together. So this is going to be customer onboarding. I can add a description. I can insert a logo that's our own. I'm going to use SmartSuite because I work at SmartSuite. We're going to add an account name, a size. Again, anything you add in your grid view, it will populate here. However, if you realize I really should have added this field, you can add a new field directly on the form. So say I forgot something, I can add it here. Looks like I have what I need, but you can always add it just directly here. So I'm going to add account manager and maybe an email type. Okay, that looks good to me for now. So now you can share this form through embedded code or a shareable link. I'm going to go ahead and open it. I'm going to type in account name. I'm just going to use SmartSuite. Account manager, I'll make it myself. And type. So we're going to go back to account summary. Here we go, customer. So here I am. What's really important about forms is we have a built in our architecture. We have full name fields. So when you gather data from people specifically, you're going to want to use a full name field because this is data validation. Not only do you have the option to create a full name, first and last, you can add a title and you can customize what you want your titles to be. Mr., Mrs., Miss, anything you want. You can even add a middle name. So this is data validation for making sure you get every component of your name without having to create all these different fields and formulas. This is built into SmartSuite. Really great field to have in your forms. Another thing that we have here is our unique address field. And this address field allows you to enter addresses that are validated. For example, if I put an address here, it's going to show it's validated. As you type it in, you have to validate the address. So when you're gathering data from clients and new customers and new leads, those data validations are really important, and SmartSuite offers that. The next thing I'm going to look into are linked records and the purpose of duplicating records. As I said, we can create linkage between our potential customers and the contacts within them by creating a linked record. So the purpose of the linked record is to create a correlation between these two. So our accounts have different customers that are a part of them. So what I've done here is I've created a contact name and I've linked it to a customer through a linked field. So I'm just going to do customers. The same one as here, but I just want to show you how you would select them. And you can see all the ones populated from the customers up here, and I can create this relationship. So another important thing about SmartSuite is these workflows and templates, you can move them around. Maybe some data is useful in this solution, but you also think it's useful in another workflow. There are some really great functionalities that I use on a day-to-day basis when I'm working. And one of them is to duplicate an application. So say I have contacts that pertain to this customer onboarding. However, I want to store my contacts in a CRM as well. And I want them to be in multiple places. So what you can do is you can duplicate this application. So here I have contacts and whatever, it's going to be a copy for now because it's still going to be in the solution. But I also want it to be in my sales CRM. So I'm going to select drop down here and I'm going to move it to another solution. So I also want it to be in my sales CRM. What I've done here is I've moved it to solution and it opens automatically. So I already have contacts here, but say I didn't, I can add it. And that way that same data from before is in the solution now. So you're not having to re-input data and You can use this data to your advantage and to your use for each purpose and workflow. The percent complete field here shows you how many tasks are complete, based off this formula that I showed here. So if total tasks equals 0, the amount of open tasks divided by the total tasks multiplied by 100. This is just formatting, which we can always help you with. You can duplicate fields. You can duplicate apps, of course. We have bulk updates too, which is a new feature, which is really, really helpful for updating a lot of fields. So I can just show you an example of that. So say all of these were completed today. I can select which ones I completed today and change them to complete, and then all of them will populate.
I see a great question come in here. So other than copy, are there any other major SmartSuite functionality updates on the roadmap? Do you want to talk a little bit about what's coming?
Sure. So as you may know, we have solution permissions that allow you to permit who can see what solution. We have application permissions, which allow you to override the solution permissions and allow people to have full access, editor, contributor, and viewer. Soon to come, we have the assignee permission. So someone is only going to be able to see what they're assigned to. That's coming very soon. Next, we have field level permissions coming soon. So not only are you going to have application permissions, but you're going to be able to edit the field permissions. Say there's specific, either confidential or private data that you don't want all your team members to see. The field level permissions will make it so the field won't even appear for that viewer. It'll be completely missing or uneditable, or however you want it to appear for them. A feature that our team is really excited about is called the Document Designer. And this allows you to create invoices, documents. Avi can come up with a few more use cases, but it's multiple pages. And we're really excited about this feature coming really soon. Our whole goal here is really to cover the limitations that other platforms the customers are experiencing with this particular feature. And we really try to make it more functional and eliminate the limitations that people are experiencing.
Okay, I see a question coming here. Is there a way to set up automation to start a time tracker similar to a stopwatch for checking in and out of tasks?
So we do have, that's another feature coming soon, is the time tracking. Right now we have the time tracking field log. So that allows you each person can input their own time for a project. So say I spent like 2 hours on this, it shows up that I personally put in 2 hours. You can put a time range here as well. We do have a time tracking feature coming soon that will have the functionalities of the time tracker that you're thinking of. While we're waiting, I do want to let you know the resources that we have available. Number one being our community. It's a great way for you to interact with other SmartSuite users and our team. So we're very involved on the community. We post product updates, event updates, and pro tips, really great things about our product are in the community. Coming soon, we have an academy, which will allow employees or your team members to become certified on our product, and really great resource for onboarding and getting people assimilated to using SmartSuite. You can schedule a demo, of course, if you really want more custom questions for your particular use case. But getting hold of us, the quickest way to do that here is just to send a message. We'll get back to you really shortly. So if you have any questions and you want to take this conversation outside the webinar and we can customize the questions towards your use case, we're happy to do that as well. We offer 8 hours free of charge of onboarding if you just have one paid seat on our team edition. And our team will help you develop your workflows, like I showed you in the project management, but for any use case, for any industry, and we can help you move your data over. We can help you set up the workflows and automations, and we can do that in that 8-hour time for you. It's a really easy transition, and we can really help you see the power of SmartSuite and how it can really improve your business. I thank everyone for joining, and please be in touch if you want to continue the conversation. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks, Avi, for joining me.
Thanks, Emma. Great job.